Hello, scholars. Welcome to Unit 5. We're going to do 3 videos this time, all right? One on the nervous system, one on your senses, and then another one on the endocrine system. So 3 videos this time, first of 3. Let's get started. We always talk about structure and function. What are the parts? What do they do? The main thing that you need to know about the nervous system is it's made out of neurons, all right? Neurons are what make up your nerve fibers, and these are specialized cells. These cells can maintain an electric potential, right? They carry a voltage, just like a battery or the computer that you're using to watch the video. There's voltages carried in those wires, and they send messages through fast-moving electrical energy. So your computer is really like your nervous system, or your nervous system is really like a computer. Okay, so these neurons come together to make 2 huge structures. There's only 2 main parts of the nervous system. The brain, which is the control center of the nervous system, and the brain has 3 parts. The cerebrum, right, and that cerebrum is split into 2 hemispheres, okay, your right and your left hemisphere, and those parts of your cerebrum control a lot of your active processes like speech and memory and your thoughts and processing of all the information you get from your sensory nerves. Next, you have the cerebellum. Okay, the cerebrum is the biggest part of the brain, by the way. Cerebellum, small part at the back of your head, right back here. All right, and this is what's going to maintain your balance and lets your brain know where all the parts of your body are. So when I move my hand, I can close my eyes and still know where my hand is. How? Because the nerves in my hand are sending information about your position. So you know where your feet are, where your toes are, where your hand is, which way your head is turned, even if your eyes are closed because of the cerebellum. You also have the medulla. This is also called the brain stem in some of the older books, right? And the medulla controls lots of your involuntary processes, things that you don't consciously think about. Your heart rate, your breathing, your body temperature, your blood pressure, all of that kind of automatic stuff that just works to keep you alive, that you're not under conscious control of, happens in the medulla. And the medulla is where your spinal cord attaches to your brain, all right? So the other major structure in the nervous system is your spinal cord. And it's a whole lot of bundles of nerves coming from your brain down to the rest of your body. And they're protected by bones called your vertebrae. So you have your spinal cord inside your spine. Spine is made up of the vertebrae. The vertebrae are the bones, but down the center of those vertebrae is hollow. And there's a cord of nerve fibers that go from your brain down to the rest of your body and allow you to communicate. Cool? All right. Pause if you need to. We're going to go on. So how does a neuron work? All right. So neurons can change the charge on the surface of their membranes. And they do this using positively charged ions. All right. What's an ion, you say? We're going to learn a little bit about it in this unit, but these are atoms or molecules that have some sort of charge on them. Now they can be positively charged, like sodium here. Na plus is the sodium ion. K plus is your potassium ion. Notice that it's not S for sodium or P for potassium because these are old Latin names. Okay, so Na plus is sodium. K plus is potassium. These are the 2 that your nerve cells work. I threw chlorine in here because we just did hydrochloric acid. Chlorine is an ion, and if you put Na plus Cl together, you get NaCl. That's table salt. So you know a little bit about ions. When they break apart in the solution in water, they carry a positive charge or a negative charge. Now, your neurons work just like a computer. Computers use a series of ones and zeros to flip a transistor on or off. And that series of ones and zeros, that series of on and off, it's a binary code. And through that binary code, you can run Microsoft Word or search the internet or produce this image that you're seeing. It's a set of computer instructions. It's a set of information computer is processing. That's the way that your brain works as well. Except your computer works on negatively charged electrons. Okay? We can do the same thing with our brain. I'd argue we do some things way better. But we do it with positively charged ions. Okay? How do we do that? Well, we normally keep a voltage of negative 70 millivolts. Is that a lot of voltage? No, it's really, really tiny, but it's enough to keep you alive and give you all these thoughts and allow you to listen to my voice and see my picture right now. Kind of neat. So with a little bit of voltage, we can send messages. How do we do that? If I want to have an impulse, well, then I go from my negative 70 millivolts and I let a whole lot of positive ions in. When I let in these positive ions, which are outside the cell, boom, my cell membrane turns positive for just a fraction of a second. And then I let out positive ions and they flow out whoosh, and my cell membrane becomes negative again. So that little flash, that little bloop, I turn positive, oh, I'm back negative again. That's an impulse, okay? It's like a flash of light or a flash of electricity. And that's going to spur the next neuron to fire, or the next part of that membrane to generate an impulse. It's a little bit more complicated than that when we look at the nitty-gritty, but in general, what we're doing is we've got on and off flashes of electricity. We do this with positively charged ions, sodium, and potassium, right? Now, there's three parts of a neuron. They're the dendrites, these things over here, that receive the message. The dendrites are the green things. See the arrows? It's all incoming messages. Then the cell body right here, okay, that's going to take all the incoming information and decide what to do with it. Do I pass on this message, or do I just hold on to it and let it die? Because sometimes there's information you want to ignore. Other times there's information you want to react to. And so the cell body takes information from lots of different sources, whether it be sensory nerves or other neurons. It says, do I want to send or not? If I do, I send that message down the axon to other neurons. So in through the dendrites, through the cell body, out through the axon. If you want a bigger picture, here it is. That'll help you. Okay, dendrites are the green. Cell body is the processing unit, the CPU, the computer. All right, and then my axon sends it along, all right, to the next neuron, to the next computer. All right, now we have some divisions in the nervous system. The biggest division is central nervous system, okay, versus the peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system is in blue here, all right? You've got your brain and your spinal cord. What this does, it's a central processing unit. It processes or interprets, decides how to react to all the messages coming from the peripheral nervous system. What's the peripheral nervous system, you ask? Well, that's all your nerves except your brain and your spinal cord. So this senses information from the environment. Gee, I'm touching my face. Gee, I'm seeing the computer. Gee, I'm hearing your voice. I'm sensing information. That's my peripheral. It's on the outside, the periphery, okay, of your body. And I sense the information. It goes into the central nervous system. The central nervous system says, ooh, I want to react. I want to move my hand. So my peripheral nervous system also sends the message for me to move my fingers, okay? So central and nervous is the biggest division. Here's my nervous system, broken in central and peripheral. Now the peripheral nervous system also has two more subdivisions. The somatic, which controls your voluntary movement. Gee, I want to move my finger. I'm moving my finger. That's my somatic nervous system. And then I have my autonomic nervous system, which is another division of your peripheral nervous system. This does all the involuntary stuff you don't think about. Digesting your breakfast, controlling your heart rate, your blood pressure, those types of things. All right. Now there's also this whole sympathetic, parasympathetic. We're not going to really get into that. Ooh, this always does this when I'm doing a video. Big idea here is my nervous system has two huge divisions. peripheral and central. Okay? Peripheral nervous system breaks down to the autonomic, things you do involuntarily, and the somatic, the things I can consciously control. Cool? All right. Hopefully that's enough for you. 3 main questions. You want to know structure and function of the nervous system, okay? What the things are, what do they do? You want to understand in general how a neuron works. We're talking about electrical impulses, okay? Dendrite to cell body to axon. And then you want to understand the basic divisions of the nervous system. Next time we're going to talk about your senses. All right, this is all in chapter 25, section 1, pages 656 to 662. We'll see you in class.